huge news for the cruise industry to see.
Yes, the Vista knows what's up.
Until we meet again, safe travels.
There you go. Once again, currently it is around 2 o'clock here on a Sunday. You know what that means? Time for the Cruise Junkie Live. Today's shows, we got a jam-packed show. We have the maiden arrival of the P&O Iona, which wasn't even supposed to be in today's show, but we're going to be discussing that. We got the maiden arrival of the MSC Virtuosa to... of course, all the way over there in the UK. They're getting ready to resume sailings. We got a Royal Caribbean Quantum class shakeup. 2 ships on the brink of canceling cruising. Well, one actual ship did get canceled for the summer. And then the other ship, it's on the brink of it because it's really so many health and safety protocols that are just crazy. So we're talking about that in a moment. But before we do that, let me know in the chat if we are 5 by 5. That means you can see and you can hear me absolutely amazing. Again, just let me know if we are 5 by 5 in the chat. So, yep, again, everybody, looks like we're all 5 by 5. Looks like we had a little bit of the problem with the audio, but looks like that is fixed. So, once again, good to hear that we are her 5 by 5. Sorry for that again in the beginning of the show. Anyway, guys, so again, we're going to be discussing some of the biggest events here in the cruise industry this week. So let's head over there and go look at some of the major events in the cruise industry this week. Our first story, which is the only MSC Virtuosa. So we're going to go cover that story first here on the show. And if you have any questions about these stories, feel free to drop them in the chat or comments. I'll go ahead and read those in a moment. Again, here in the Cruise Junkie Live, we like to interact with the chat. Again, when we discover the cruise news with y'all. So we're going to go ahead and cover the MSC Virtuosa. Again, this is MSC Cruise Line's newest ship, and it is sailing from Southampton beginning on May the 20th. So I believe on a, let's see, on a haul all the way over later this week on May the 20th. So that'll be Thursday. The MSC Virtuosa will be setting sail for the first time. Of course, now the MSC Virtuosa is a Magnavilia Plus class of ships. And again, this ship basically basically just like the other MSC Magnifica class ships. Instead, this has major upgrades on this ship. Some of the ones include the first robotic bar on MSC cruises, of course, kind of like Royal Caribbean's bionic bar, but of course a little bit of a different spin on it. Of course, they have like an actual like not a robot, but like looks like a robot you see from the movies, serving you the drinks. Instead of Royal Caribbean, which is basically like a robot that they make cars with, but MSC is going to be more like the robots you'll see in Star Tours or something like that. So again, it's set to begin its first ever maiden voyage around the British Isles, beginning May the 20th, 2021. It will begin sailing with the 3 and 4 night mini cruises starting on May the 20th to July the 5th, and then it's beginning July the 5th. It will start doing 7 night cruises around the Greek Isles. Now, I meant the Greek Isles, the British Isles, I should say. Now, again, a note, these first set of cruises will be cruises to nowhere, but when they do start out the 7-night itineraries on the Virtuosa, it will be doing week-long cruises, which includes stops in the city of Portland in the UK, Belfast in Northern Ireland, as long as other multiple ports, including Liverpool, and even a close call in Scotland, which again, they're not going to be getting off at any countries that are not part of the UK. So basically, like, again, Ireland, Scotland, and the UK, those are the only port of calls that you're allowed to get off at during the summer cruises on board the Virtuosa, or just any UK cruise this summer. You can only do basically up to, I believe, September or something, only cruises that go around the UK and don't go to other foreign ports. So like France can't go to France as of right now. Now, again, MSC Virtuoso will be the first ship to resume sailings this summer out of the UK, which is very, very good to hear. Again, the Virtuosa out of the UK. And again, once again, folks, if you're just tuning in, thank you so much for joining us. But again, we're discussing the story of right here of the MSC Virtuosa will begin sailings all the way over there in the UK on Thursday. And again, MSC will be the first cruise line to resume sailings out of the UK this summer. I believe next, I'm not quite sure, but I think it's P&O who's going to be next in terms of resuming services out of the UK. So it could either be P&O or Princess or Viking. One of those two lines will be the first to necessarily next to resume sailings. Of course, MSC is going to be resuming sailings on Thursday. So that's going to be very interesting to see. And of course, there's so many cruise vloggers on the MSC Virtuosa. Yeah, Cruise with Ben and David, Emma Cruises, so many people on the Virtuosa. And again, that was the news there with the MSC Virtuosa, of course, sailing out of the UK this summer, or to say basically starting Thursday. So now we're going to be sailing on to our next story here, which is, of course, our Quantum class shakeup. That's right, Quantum class shakeup. So we're first going to cover not say the biggest news of the week, but because that's the Odyssey. We're going to do the Odyssey in a moment. And again, Odyssey, when I was preparing this show, I believe on Friday, or Saturday, I think it was when I was preparing the show, Odyssey was just a rumor at the time. Nothing has progressed by official statement, but now it's progressed to an official statement we're going to tell you in a moment. So before we do that, we had to go to the Quantum of this seas. Now, this ship just got out of her wet dry dock all the way over there in Singapore. Of course, she's been successfully resuming cruising, or successfully sailing, since November 2020. But of course, it appears that the one, the only, the Quantum of the seas is, of course, having some more health and safety protocols added to keep cruisers safe. Because again, there's basically a spike in cases all the way over there in Singapore, so they're trying to keep on cruising by basically adding even more health and safety protocols to the ones they already got. Which again, if you guys aren't aware what Royal Caribbean's health and safety protocols are for Singapore, basically the same thing they're going to have for the Adventure this summer, except again, Adventure is going to be way tweaked compared to Singapore. And again, one of the new health and safety protocols have on board the again, the Quantum of the seas, which is only sailing out of Singapore. And again, this news with these new health and safety protocols does not affect the Adventure, the Jewel, or the Anthem, or the Vision this summer. So again, these new protocols I'm going to be telling you guys about, they only affect the Adventure, not the Adventure, they only affect the Quantum of the seas and do not affect any other ship. So I just want to let you guys know that, again, they do not affect any other ship in the Royal Caribbean fleet. Now, these protocols include, again, an addition of basically no more in-person dining. So basically, instead, you have to go ahead and eat all your meals in your cabin. So instead of going to the main dining room eating, you can go to the main dining room, pick up your food, but you can't eat it inside the main dining room or the Windjammer. All meals must be eaten inside of your stateroom. So that's one of the things that are pretty big news with the Quantum. No meals inside restaurants on board the Quantum of the seas. However, if you want to get a main dining room meal or one of the specialty restaurants on board, you still can. You just have to eat that food that you would have been eating inside the restaurant. You have to eat it inside your cabin, which is, again, the big news right there. And again, that was a kind of a factor. If I personally had a cruise booked on the Quantum, I'd probably cancel it if that had to be one of the protocols, because that's pushing the limit right there. I personally think so. Let me know down in the comments if that's pushing the line where you have to eat every single meal inside your cabin, because I think that's pushing the line of cruising. So And again, another thing, the Quantum of the Seas before last week, it was sailing around 50 or 65% capacity. They had to tweak that all the way back down to 25%. So the ship will be sailing around 25% capacity. So that's less than 1,000 people on board this ship. Also, guest group sizes, or basically I should say, basically how many people can actually sail in a cabin, will be limited to 2 guests per cabin. That's right. If you had kids, or you want to bring your grandparents with you, you're practically out of luck because, again, only you and your significant other can go. You can't bring your kids. You can't bring your grandparents with you. You can't bring your relatives. You can bring them with you, but they can't stay in the same cabin with you, or you can't hang out with them because, again, the group sizes are limited to 2 people now. Also, guest occupancy in public spaces has been reduced to allow at least 16 square meters of distancing. Again, all theater shows also will be reduced to 50% capacity, which, again, not 50%, but 50 people per show, which is just crazy. Also, again, there will be add more heightened limits to pools and hot tubs also at the Seaplex and the Flowrider. Which, again, that's some of the things on the Quantum of the Seas. Again, this adds on top of the already pre-cruise COVID tests, contactless embarkation, and disembarkation procedures, plus the enhanced ventilation on board the ship. So that's just crazy. That, folks, I gotta say, is just crazy when it comes to these new measures on board the ship. So yeah, there you go. That was some of the things on board the Quantum of the Seas. And of course, this week was a tale of 2 Quantum class ships. We're going to go ahead and switch it over to the Odyssey of the Seas, Royal Caribbean's newest ship. She's supposed to sail out of Israel this summer, beginning actually in a few days. But of course, due to the violence, plus not able to get the crew vaccinated in time, they had to say, you know what, they had to call that off. And again, this was late-breaking cruise news. It was going around on a rumor on Thursday/Friday, but nothing really escalated until last night, where Michael Bailey basically came out with a public statement from Royal Caribbean saying, yeah, sadly, we can't do the Israel sailings due to violence in the country, and also due to them not being able to get the crew fully vaccinated, and the health and safety protocols improved in time, so they had to go ahead and cancel the Odyssey of the Seas maiden season out of Israel, and Israel will have to wait another day to get a brand new cruise ship, or should I say a mega cruise ship, in their home waters. So yeah, that was very sad. And of course, it says Israel May 2021. Well, unfortunately, that did not happen. So now we got to go ahead and pull up, and you may be wondering, where will the Quantum of the Seas be heading, Tyler? Well, as of right now, the Quantum of the Seas is scheduled. I said not Quantum. Quantum's, of course, sailing out of Singapore. But no, the Odyssey of the Seas is scheduled to be sailing to Florida. That's right. She'll begin her cruise down to, again, Florida in the following days, according to Michael Bailey and to some of the crew on board the ship. Now, the port is Port Canaveral. That's the rumored port, which I'm going to get to that back there in a moment. We got a lot of Port Canaveral news to get into on the today's show. But again, I'm trying to pull up the live view of course, where the Odyssey of the Seas is, which is, of course, Royal Caribbean's newest ship. So supposedly, the Odyssey of the Seas has been hanging off in Cyprus with the Anthem of the Seas. So I'm going to go ahead and go see if that is indeed all the way over there. And yeah, the Odyssey of the Seas, see if I can go share the screen for a moment, is indeed in Cyprus, getting already stocked up for her transatlantic across the pond. So yeah, let's go ahead and see. There you go. So yeah, as you can see there, that is the live map, maritime mapper of the Odyssey of the Seas. Let's see if I can pull that down. Pull that down right here. And there we go. So, okay, maybe it won't work. Oopsie. Yeah, anyway, there you go. So that's the Odyssey of the Seas. This basically shows you all of the destinations. Again, her last port of call was Israel, so you can't make that excuse. I know a lot of people in the comments on Facebook posts and stuff, they were like, Tyler, they just, not Tyler, but they were just saying, for example, to people, they're like, it was just Royal Caribbean excuse to bait and switch and take all their money. Well, they actually did try to get these sailings happening. It wasn't like Royal Caribbean said, oh, we're home porting a ship here, and then never actually home ported a ship there. So again, sadly, it does appear that the Odyssey of the Seas out of Israel this summer is a no-go. And of course, the ship that's docked next to the Odyssey of the Seas is the Anthem of the Seas, which will of course be sailing out of the UK this summer. So again, a lot of news there in terms of ship movement. So yeah, let me know what you think down below about the Odyssey being canceled. Would love to hear your guys' reaction to this. So let's go ahead before we get to our next story. Let's say hey to the folks in the chat. I haven't done this yet. So hello, Hunter, Anthony, Nathan, Mike and Betsy, Nathan again, and John. Good to have all of you in here. So Nathan is saying basically he won't be surprised if he sees Royal Caribbean will require the vaccine on the Quantum of the Seas. Yeah, again, I think we'll come down to the numbers of Singapore, because Singapore is a relatively small country. I mean, the amount of population in there is massive, but again, the overall country size is smaller, so it should, in theory, make it really relatively easy to get vaccinated. Again, got to keep that number. Between the number gets high enough where most of the population is vaccinated, I'm sure Royal Caribbean will require it, especially if they want to open the Quantum up to other nationalities such as the Australians, because supposedly, according to the Royal Caribbean boss a few months ago, they're working with Australia, or at least trying to, with the Singaporean government, to allow other nationalities on board the Quantum of the Seas when a bubble setup is made between Australia and Singapore. So again, I think that's very, very interesting. That is for sure. So again, we got to go over there and say that a lot of news has been happening, of course, with cruising. So again, also today we had the one, the only, the P&O Arvia, or it's not Arvia, that's the new ship coming out. The sister ship to the Arvia, I meant to say, the Iona was in the one, the only Southampton today. Her first inaugural call in the port. And of course, the cruise with Ben and David was there. Ship spotted. Again, that footage is just credit to cruise with Ben and David. So if you want to check out some footage coming up, of course, when cruising does resume here in the US, check out Ben and David's channel. Little shameless plug. I know they're really big subscriber-wise, so I'm sure most of you are subscribed to them already. But yeah, again, it appears the one and only, the Iona, came into Southampton today. Of course, she's getting ready for a christening ceremony tonight, plus of course, her inaugural sailings in August, which is a while away, but again, she'll be sailing this August out of Southampton. Now, if you may be wondering, Tyler, well, the Iona looks very similar to the Carnival Mardi Gras. Well, that is because it's in the same class of ships. It's called the XL class, which again is a relatively copy and paste class of ships in the Carnival fleet. Carnival Cruise Line has course, the XL class. P&O has it. Added or Idita has it. And I believe those are the only 3 brands as of right now. Oh, plus Costa has the XL class too. So again, around 4 brands have the XL class of ships. And again, these ships are massive for, again, look at all those balconies. Massive amount of course, a massive class of ships. And again, for all the folks wondering, I know we had some questions asked DMs last week about the Mardi Gras update. Luckily, or to say not luckily, the Mardi Gras has still not done her transatlantic over here to the US, which means, yeah, no cruise ships, or say no LNG cruise ships out of Port Canaveral as of right now. Which again is pretty much upsetting right there to see that no Mardi Gras is here in Port Canaveral. Yes, thank you, Anthony, for dropping the link to Ben and David's channel. And again, it's very, very, very interesting. So, again, y'all, that was most of the stories we wanted to cover here on today's show. I'm going to have an update with the Adventure of the Seas here before we get on up out of here in the following moments. And again, an update here with the Adventure of the Seas. I got great news for the channel with the Adventure. It'll be definitely a lot of good news to share. I'm going to share that news with you guys in the following moments. And again, John from J&N Travel, he has this thing, says, Tyler Show, they all have workable guidance. No more Excuses. Let's sail. Yeah, I agree. Especially with the news from the CDC this week. There was a lot of news, and the news was, again, 100% good news for the cruise industry. It was good news that they could, at least, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to take tests to get on the ship anymore. Back-to-back cruises are finally allowed. However, again, I was going to do this show this week on the CDC's guidelines and how they're really silly. Again, they are silly. I'll explain them in another video. I'll explain, they're not silly. They make some logistical sense, but just the amount of, they'll say, hey guys, guess what, cruising, you can no more test cruises. You have to do test cruises. That's what they said. If you have to do test cruises, and then you're like, if all 95% of your crew are vaccinated, and then the next one they say, another one is, you can skip test cruises if 100% of your passengers are vaccinated. Okay, that made no sense right there. I was like, what? Yeah, so again, it's hard to explain, guys, but the guidance from the CDC is pretty much very, very tricky when it comes to cruising. Like, their test cruises, you can skip test cruises, or you can still have test cruises, but the test cruises still have to be 100% vaccinated. Yes, which was like, why? What's even the point? Because again, that's the point I was trying to make earlier, but it didn't come out the way I wanted it to. But the point is, yeah, what's the point of even doing test cruises if you can bypass test cruises if 98% of your crew are vaccinated and 95% of your guests are vaccinated, or you can actually take test cruises, but 100% of your guests still have to be vaccinated for the test cruises, which made no sense. So yeah, again, I'll be interested to see how it all pans out. And speaking of test cruises, if you will, we have a ship, the Adventure of the Seas. That's right, the famed Countdown to Adventure ship, the ship I was supposed to sail on this summer. Oh, what a lovely ship. Yeah, so again, what a lovely ship that is for sure. Well, we got some news with the Adventure of the Seas, and the Countdown to Adventure, one of the final episodes, hopefully, could be airing on this channel sometime in the following weeks, because guess what, y'all? It appears, according to this AIS tracker, or as basically AIS is like Automated Intelligence Service. I'm sure butchering that one, but again, well, that's not the right button. Okay, folks. There we go. So there you go. That's the Adventure of the Seas, and as you can see here, we're gonna go enlarge that for a second. As you can see here, with its call out, SX, that's St. Martin Island. Phillipsburg, which is of course where the cruise piers. But look at that next destination right there. Look at that. I wish I could enlarge it, but you want to guess what that destination says? That's right. It says USPCV, Port Canaveral. That's right, US Port Canaveral. That's just amazing news. So the reason they're going to go to Port Canaveral is to get the crew vaccinated on board the ship. And I did the math, and they will have time to get all the crew vaccinated, and still have enough buffer time before it's June 12th sailing. So yeah, again, this is part of an effort from Carnival and Royal Caribbean to get all their crew for most of the ships vaccinated in Florida. Of course, a lot of the cruise ships that were down in the Caribbean took the trip all the way up to Florida to get their crew vaccinated, and then they're back down here. For example, the Freedom of the Seas, again, a few days ago, I should say, she was in Miami, but of course now she's back all the way over there in St. Martin. So again, that's a mission with the Adventure of the Seas we'll be doing later this week, which will be, of course, the trip down to Port Canaveral to get its crew vaccinated. So we're going to go ahead and pull up the Port Canaveral, or Cape Canaveral. That's the legal, if you will, terms of Port Canaveral. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and pull up and see what ships are expected to arrive in port. And I'm going to tell you what ships we're going to have later this week. So, of course, the Adventure of the Seas, as of right now, is one of the only cruise ships that has their AIS still set for Cape Canaveral. Supposed to be here on the 20th. Plus, as of right now, we actually have the Carnival Liberty in Port Canaveral. She's docked for the first time ever at Cruise Terminal 3, which is, of course, Carnival Cruise Line's newest cruise terminal. And again, as of right now, no other cruise ships have set their AIS to Cape Canaveral. We'll have to wait and see how it does pan out and see if other cruise ships do ahead and put their AIS for Port Canaveral. Because again, there's a video posted by Port Canaveral on their YouTube channel and Facebook page which talked about the crew vaccination process. And in the video, they did go ahead and say that Royal Caribbean will be coming to Port Canaveral later. They say next week, so this will be basically Monday to Friday our time to get their crew vaccinated. Which again, Carnival did the same thing on Thursday and Friday with the Liberty and the Freedom. So yeah, there you guys go. That was the information there on today's show, the Cruise Junkie Live. We appreciate all of you guys being in here. Also, if you have not already, guys, please like this stream. I see we have 4 people in the chat and only 4 thumbs up. So again, would greatly do appreciate it. By the way, if you guys want to help support the channel, people always ask, Tyler, how do I best support your channel, plus this Countdown to Adventure series and the upcoming Vacationing from Florida Space Coast series? Well, the reason you can go ahead and do that, not the reason, but the way you can go ahead and do it is clicking the link, which is the Cruise Junkie Shop. Again, that's the Cruise Junkie Shop. Again, if you want to help support the channel, and get some super cool cruise ship merch for your upcoming adventure, the sea sailings this summer, and of course, Happy Cruise Day shirt available down all the way over there at the Countdown to Adventure store, which is of course available on the Cruise Junkie merchandise. So again, if you want to go ahead and help support the channel, again, that's available down there at, of course, the Cruise Junkie Shop. So again, the Cruise Junkie Shop is the place to pick up some awesome, cool cruise ship merchandise. So I just dropped the link down in the chat if you guys want to go ahead and help support me. Again, greatly do appreciate it. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this way to get your we'll do it for this week's show. It's been a long one, as you can tell here. I've been a long day so far. And lastly, we're going to get to our final comments of the show. If you have any final comments, feel free to pull them down in the chat. Absolutely would appreciate it. John from January Travel says, I think the test cruises are a way to influence cruisers to get the vaccine. They will go anyway. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that point. Definitely a way to help people to get their vaccine by doing these test cruises. That is for sure. So yeah, definitely do agree with you on that, John. And once again, y'all, we appreciate you guys tuning in for this week's live show, though. It was a blast hanging out with all of you, as always. We're going to be right back here, hopefully on Friday. If not Friday, we'll be right back here on Sunday with another episode of the Cruise Junkie Live. And again, if you want to come on the show and be a guest, if you're a creator, please feel free to reach me down in the description below. You can always DM me or reach my email. Again, we appreciate all of you guys tuning in for this week's show. And until the next time, take it easy, guys. We'll see you right back here another week. Have a good one. We'll see you later.